It's sort of, 1987 is actually when I got this job here, okay? So for 25 years, 26 years, I've been watching that evolution. And it came right before the crisis to a consensus, okay, among all economists pretty much, okay, that the right thing, that what the Fed was doing and what the Fed should be doing was something called the Taylor rule, okay? That it should be moving the Fed funds rate in accordance with an equation of the following form. And let me just copy it so that I get it on the board the same way it is in the notes. R equals rho plus pi e, I'll tell you what all these things are, plus alpha pi e minus pi star plus beta y minus y f. Okay. R is the target interest rate, so we'll just say that's the Fed funds rate there. Rho is the natural rate of interest. It's a real rate of interest. It's the return on capital on real capital goods. Pi e is expected inflation, where inflation, as you know from your earlier courses, is the change in the price level in percentage terms. So that might be 1% or 2% sort of now, but in 79 it might be 15%. So it could be a large number. And then there's this error correction term in a way, in expected inflation minus inflation target. Okay, and output minus full employment target. That's the target. So there's two terms here, one about prices and one about output. And the notion is that the central bank is, this equation, by the way, fits, if you run this regression, and so you're actually calculating alpha and beta, it fits the behavior of central banks pretty much around the world pretty well, not in the crisis, okay, but in normal times. So it's a positive description of what central banks are doing. But then there's a whole literature that grew up to have as normative, saying this is what central banks should be doing to stabilize prices, to stabilize output, to stabilize the economy. And the key idea is this, that this first part of the equation, okay, R equals rho plus pi e, this is something called the Fisher effect. Fisher, who is a professor at Yale. And the idea is just that the nominal interest rate is equal to the real interest rate plus expected inflation. And so this is what the markets are doing themselves, is the point, okay? That the markets themselves are trying to look ahead and think about what is expected inflation, and they're going to try to factor it in to the interest rate they charge. So that if you expect higher inflation, it's only fair that creditors get more return. So the nominal interest rate goes up here. This is the idea. Now when Irving Fisher himself was positing this, he actually thought people made mistakes about this all the time. And so a lot of fluctuation in the economy, he thought, came from the fact that people made mistakes. They had wrong expectations of inflation. And he thought that he could help them get better expectations of inflation by using the quantity equation and other forecasts of inflation. Okay. Modern economics, okay, as you know, is much more optimistic about people's ability to forecast and tends to think of these rational expectations, that this is in fact an unbiased estimate of the actual and future inflation. And so the point is, this is what the market will do on its own. So the rest of this is saying this is what the Fed is going to do in order to correct the market. Okay? In order to lean against the wind, alpha is greater than 1. Okay? So that if expected inflation is greater than the inflation target, we raise the nominal interest rate by more than the difference, so to try to really create more discipline in the economy. That's the idea. Or if output is below full employment, this beta is the sensitivity of monetary policy to that, we lower interest rates, okay, if unemployment is a problem. Okay, we lower interest rates to try to get some more elasticity. Okay, so this is an attempt to describe in technical, well, not really that technical, it's just a linear equation here, the behavior of central banks, and then there's a lot of literature, people made careers on this, about what is the optimal setting of alpha, what's the optimal setting of beta, maybe we shouldn't even have such a term, maybe we should have a third term for financial stability. So you can generate dissertations out of this, and many dissertations were generated out of this. I already had my dissertation by then, and so I didn't write my dissertation on this. But this was the state of the art, and it came to be called inflation targeting. And it spread all over the world. And then we had a financial crisis. So this was a sort of, economics came to believe that somehow we had really mastered the monetary economy so much that we could argue, should this be 1.1 or 1.2 or something like that, fine details of stabilization, okay? And meanwhile, we didn't have inflation, we had the great moderation, and then kerwhammy, we got this financial crisis. So the notion that if we just do this, everything's going to be fine, nobody believes this anymore, okay? This can't really be true. There must be more to it than that. And so this sort of dislocation, you can imagine the mental dislocation, a whole generation of young professors who mastered all of this, and they learned all their econometrics, and they did all this, and then the crisis comes along, and they're a little destabilized by this, okay, even now. I was fortunate, as I say, that I wasn't part of this sort of program, and I did other things, and I was reading Hawtrey and so forth, and so I was much more prepared for the financial crisis and so in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, and that turned out to be me. If you wait long enough in one place, the world will come right back around to you.